Okay, I think we're live. I think it's working. Sometimes I feel like it takes a second. People are like, "Yeah, you started talking, and I missed it." So, yes, we're here. We're live with the Geare Brothers. How you guys doing?
We are good. Thanks for having us, Chuck.
Yeah, happy
Yeah,
to be here.
this will be fun. I think this is something different. Do it live, and maybe some people will chime in and comment. And you never know what's going to happen because there's no script. So it's live. I could say something terrible. You could say something terrible. We can't. I can't cut it out. So
Well, at least we go down together, Chuck.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the Captain Spaulding shirt, by the way. Nice.
thank you for getting that right. Yeah. See, I figure I kind of put some horror movie stuff up there.
Yeah.
You guys get the references. You guys are not just screenwriters and movie makers. You're movie fans. And that's why I like you.
Big time, absolutely. And I gotta love the Ugly Kid Joe I see representing, and the Warrant too. I saw Ugly Kid Joe when I was quite young. They opened for Ozzy.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. See, I never saw him. I became a fan in like 8th grade. And I got like the debut EP, which I think is still like brilliant. I love that whole EP. Every song, I listened to that so many times. Then I got America's Least Wanted. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And yeah, I think they opened for like Ozzy and Def Leppard, but they did a headlining show in Seattle where I grew up, and it was at this place called Rock Candy, but it was 21 and over. So I couldn't go. And then they just like never came back to the US. They stopped touring the US in like 92 or 3 or something. And so I just never got a chance. I was actually like thinking, I was like, okay, how can I plan a trip to like Europe to see this band? Because they were like seriously one of my favorite bands as a kid.
Yeah.
And then finally they still didn't come to my town that I'm in now, Phoenix, but they came to Vegas. So I drove 5 hours. I go to Vegas all the time. And I saw them a couple months ago, bought that poster, bought a hat. And what else did I buy? Poster, hat, I think it was a third thing. But yeah, it was a phenomenal show. That singer.
Did they sound good?
Yes. The singer is in Whitfield Crane, totally underrated singer. He won't do my podcast. I know I did get the guitar, both guitarists, Dave Fortman and Klaus Eichstadt. But yeah, those guys are awesome. But yeah, Whitfield, I mean, he's insane because to be that good of a singer is hard enough, but then to be able to still sing at that level at his age, like, you know what I mean? Like usually singers, and they turn like 40, 50, it starts to kind of like go downhill. I didn't notice any drop off when I saw them. It was like, and he's just such a good front man. He's so energetic, and I loved every song. I was like, oh, I love this one. I love this one. You know, it's like when I saw Guns N' Roses, same thing. But
well, especially when the singers sing with that much, because he's got that rasp in there and he's hitting the high notes. So yeah, that's not easy to sustain that. So that's impressive. He's still hitting those notes. Yeah, he's good.
Exactly. Yeah, I think, and I talked to Klaus about that when I had him on, just how like there's very few singers that can still sing those kind of notes, you know, as they get older. Like Steven Tyler is one of them. Like Steven Tyler still sounds phenomenal from what I've
seen. Yeah, he's inhuman at his age, and I mean the notes he hits and the raspy. Yeah, I mean he's definitely in a league all his own.
Have you guys ever seen Aerosmith?
No, I never have. No. Never did. Just never. Yeah.
Just never
I want to, but now it's like, what is it, like 300 or 400 for like a nosebleed seat?
Yeah, fuck that, dude.
Yeah,
that's insane. That's too much.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's funny, the people that I always feel like, gosh, there's no way they still are worth seeing. They can't be. And then it never fails. I'll talk to somebody who went and who happened to have seen them, and they'll say, oh, they're incredible. Like they just were unbelievable. And Tyler still absolutely kills it. And it's like, how is that possible? Because he said, what is he, 70, 73 or something? Or
is he? That's so weird. I remember when I was a kid, and they had like, so I'm a child of the 90s, but I remember they had like Get a Grip and stuff. And like, I remember like Metal Edge and Hit Parader and all those things. They were talking about back then how Aerosmith was kind of old, and they're like, kind of old. I don't, can you still do it? And it's like, and now you're just like, yeah, really? Like back then, like that was like nothing.
He outlasted a lot. Yeah.
Well, that's what's cool about a lot of these older rock guys is they're redefining how old it is you have to be doing that, really. Because I remember in the 90s, even it was like, oh, you're in your 30s, that's too old. You know what I mean? And nowadays it's like, you could make it into your 70s. Look at Paul McCartney. Is in his 80s.
Well, the 90s bands didn't survive past their 20s. You know, there's so many. Yeah. You know, it is sad. You know,
a Third Eye Blind's still going strong. I think they.
I'm trying to remember. I just had somebody on. I think it was the 90s band. It was so funny because he was saying how when he turned 25, he's like, I thought I was too old. Like it was too late.
Yeah.
When he turned 25, and I was like,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy to think about. But I mean, back then,
think about it. Everybody was dying at 27 and doing the,
and I think a lot of those classic rock guys, there was kind of a dip in their coolness. You know what I mean? I don't think it was as cool to be an Aerosmith fan, like of their contemporary stuff in the 90s, even though I look back at it and like it. But nowadays it's, it's totally changed. I mean, one of my favorite Paul McCartney records was Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. I mean, he did that probably. I love. He was 90 when he did that.
I love hearing bands' new material, giving it a shot, seeing, you know, you hear good stuff all the time. You know,
what do you think about? Because they're supposedly making new Motley Crue.
Yeah, I mean,
with John 5.
With John 5, I'm pretty excited to hear that, and then especially with, I think it's with Bob Rock too, producing. So, you know, I'm pretty pumped to hear it. I mean, John 5, I mean, love Mick Mars, so all respect to him. But I mean, I'm pretty excited to hear what that sounds like. Honestly,
yeah, because I wonder if they would do like, I don't know if you're a Skid Row fan, but if you heard the new Skid Row, holy shit, dude. It's like they went back in time and made a record in between the debut and Slave to the Grind.
I know.
And I fucking love it. It was like, I said that it was my favorite or one of my top 5 records of last year. It was insane. And so if Motley Crue, imagine if they did that, if they made an old school, like a 91 era record, like Primal Scream kind of stuff, maybe Dr. Feelgood sounding.
Yeah,
that would be amazing. I mean, I like Saints of Los Angeles too, but the old school sound for them would be epic.
Well, it's kind of like what Metallica did, where it seems like they sort of just realized like the fans want to hear
Saint Anger.
We want to hear Saint Anger, damn it.
I have 2 music teacher friends, and I feel like they're playing a joke on me or something, but they swear to God that's the best record that they like. That's the only Metallica record they like, and that they swear it's the best one.
On. They have to be.
Well, they have to not be big Metallica fans. I think that's what it is.
I think they're not. They're
Master of Puppets.
But they love that album. They don't like other Metallica albums. It's mind-boggling to me.
Well,
but
Load and Reload. Because I grew up, that was the Metallica I first heard. You know what I mean?
but I think
that's not their best.
Them going back to their thrash roots is what the fans. I think it's what the fans want. I think it's what they've been doing the last couple records. I think they've been more in touch with the thrash roots, and I think it's.
I want King Nothing, dude.
You want some King Nothing. All right.
I do like that song of the Load and the Reload. That's
the video.
No, there's some good Load songs.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't hate on Load.
That first single from the Load was like, it was like this slow, like kind of weird ballady, kind of alternative. I forget the name of it. I can hear it in my head. But I was like, what the fuck did they do? And they cut their hair short. I was like,
cut the hair short. Yeah.
And you listen to like King Nothing, and you're like, oh, this is pretty good. Now it's not like the thrash, like the Master of Puppets and shit like that. But now I think the newer stuff, they're going back. They're like, oh, maybe we should play heavy metal because we're a heavy metal band. So that was weird in the 90s. Like every band, some of the results were interesting. Like Warrant tried to go heavy, and like, Dog Eat Dog was like, that was their third record. That was like kind of heavy. But then like the next one, which probably nobody listened to except diehard Warrant fans like myself. I mean, that one was like full on, like trying to be like Alice in Chains kind of stuff. It was interesting. It was interesting to hear, but a lot of bands did that with mixed results.
Yeah. I just saw Warrant I saw Skid Row with the new singer, and they sounded great. Warrant opened and they sounded really good too.
Yeah. They both have different singers, but I saw the 2 of them. They didn't have Eric yet, the new singer, but they had the other guy. And then Warrant opened, and Winger was the first opening band. I had never seen Winger. It was one of those bands that I loved as a kid, but like they didn't come to Seattle in the 90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, their Winger sounded phenomenal too. Those guys are super good musicians.
Amazing.
They got a bad rap, but they're really actually strong musicians.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead took them down, unfortunately. But yeah, they're amazing musicians. Kip Winger.
Yeah, and Metallica, they threw the darts at him.
Yeah, Lars. Yeah, didn't do him any favors either. Yeah,
I had Kip on my show, and I made it a point to not ask about either one of those two things because I was like, dude, he's probably so sick of talking about that shit. And like every time he does, it's a blabbermouth headline. But I was like, I don't care. I still just would want to ask him about stuff that I'm curious about, not the things he's already answered 50 times, 100 times. So yeah, you guys have a really cool soundtrack to this movie. I mean, I feel like that's one of the biggest things about the movie is the soundtrack. My girlfriend was saying like, oh, you got to tell him that the Retaliator song is in my head. Like,
that's cool.
Talking about it again. And I was like, yeah, that's a good song. I had to listen to it.
Yeah, that was it was one of the coolest parts of the whole experience. Definitely was just all the bands and all of the songs and having Nikki Sixx write the theme song for our movie was, I mean, there were quite a few really surreal moments we went through, but that was one where, I mean, I might have shared this with you last time we were on, but I mean, there was a point when I was a little kid where every inch of my wall was Nikki Sixx and you
dressed up for Halloween.
Yeah, I dressed up for Halloween, all that. So it was extremely surreal. And I mean, that song is so good. It's such a great. It was just fun to do that throwback to old school soundtracks. We're just so missing that from movies today. That was just such a great part. It really took form in the 90s. That was just so huge, where it was the soundtracks were such an event along with the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Why is that? Why do you think? Is it because like obviously you just can't make money selling records anymore? Is that why they don't do it anymore? Or because I love the soundtracks?
Yeah, because certainly you still get movies with a lot of needle drops, but when you have a soundtrack that have like the main rock song is written for the movie, that's what's lacking.
Why did that go?
Because there's a kind of really fun earnestness about it and a playfulness at the same time that
that did go away, because that was I mean, in the 80s that was in comedies. I mean, it was in every Back to School, it was
like, you remember Last Action Hero? That's what I mean. See what you know about the movie, but that soundtrack is fucking phenomenal. Amazing. And actually not to mention Warrant again, but they did a version of the Last Action Hero theme song, and it didn't make it. They used Tesla's version or whatever. Tesla did a different song, but they both like pitched songs that was called Last Action Hero, and they're both really good, I think. And so yeah, you're right. It's like, why don't they do more of that shit? It's weird.
Yeah.
It's a pity.
The Shocker soundtrack was a great one. The Megadeth, No More Mr. Nice Guy, the Alice Cooper, so good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's another. Is there a Shocker theme song? No, is there?
I think there is. I don't remember off the top. I have the soundtrack somewhere, but I don't. I
just had the Wayne's World. I should have asked her about. I forgot to ask about that because I was going to ask if she had any input. Because I had the director of Wayne's World.
Penelope
Spheris, and she also directed Decline of the Western Civilization. All three of those.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask her. I forgot to do it. Ask her about the soundtrack to Wayne's World, if she had any input on the songs, because that's a pretty good soundtrack too. It's got what is that? Cinderella and the Bullet Boys and Ugly Kid Joe does this. They have that song on there, and I miss soundtracks. That was like a fun thing about movies. It seems to be lacking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Maybe it's just too expensive now. Maybe it's just who knows? I don't know. It certainly has fallen out of favor, but it was fun to do that as a throwback.
Is that just because you guys had Alan Kovacs as a producer, so he had these connections, so he just kind of pulled the strings and made it happen?
100%. Yeah, it was because he was producing the film, and he just has all of the connections he has. He manages so many bands. He runs a label. You know, he's just a powerful guy, powerful manager. So yeah, he was able to just make it happen and get all these collaborations together. And yeah, we were just, every time we were just blown away. It was like, whoa, really? We just couldn't believe it ever with every artist. I mean, it was pretty crazy.
Are you guys pretty tight with him, or is it kind of more just like a business?
Yeah, he's really cool. You know, we've flown out. He's over on the East Coast and we're on the West Coast. So we've done dinners and hung out. Jeff and I are very close with Michael Lombardi, the star and producer of the film, and he works with Alan. He works with he's head of production for Better Noise with Alan. And so, yeah, I spent some time, my family spent some time with Michael's family, and, you know, had dinner with Alan. And Alan's, he's great. He's one of those guys that's just got like a, you know, million stories. He was managing bands back in their early heyday, you know, the Bee Gees around the time of you know, Saturday Night Fever, and Duran Duran around the time they broke, and Blondie and Meatloaf when he broke. And you know, so he's just got this long, you know, and obviously he's been with Motley Crue now for whatever it's been. I think it's been close to 30 years or something like that. So
yeah, he kind of like brought them back from the dead in a way.
Completely. Yeah.
Because they were not playing stadiums at one point. I mean, back when I was a kid in Seattle in the 90s, and they had, like, when they were with Karabi, I mean, they did not come to Seattle. They did finally come when they reunited with Vince. That might have been when Alan stepped in. Is that when Alan stepped in with the reunion?
I believe so.
Okay.
There's a documentary. It's really good. I watched it a while back. I think it's right around, it might have been when they got back together, and it was when they did Saints of Los Angeles and all of that. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you.
Yeah, Debbie's great. Yeah, definitely. Everybody watching on the replay or whatever, like, definitely see Retaliators. It's a great flick, great soundtrack too. But yeah, sorry, you were saying there's a documentary.
Yeah, there's a documentary on YouTube, and if you look it up, you can see Alan Kovac at work. It's like a Motley Crue documentary with Alan Kovac. I think if you just search like Alan Kovac and Motley Crue, it'll come up. It's really interesting. You'll see him navigating. I think it's him getting the band back together, getting them back in the studio, getting them back on the road, and just sort of dealing with all the politics. And yeah, I think the music business at the time, now we live in this wonderful era where really, I mean, just every genre just has its moment in the sun. It seems like you can, right. It's like, whereas a lot of the metal bands, were very out of favor, and as long suffering metal fans, as we know, it's like there was no arenas to go to anymore. There were no more big tours to go to. It was a long period where that sort of went away. Now it's, yeah, I mean, it's like the Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison tour, which Jeff and I, we were lucky enough to be there. We were on the floor at SoFi, and it was like, it was just,
it's a very impressive. I mean, it's probably one of the most impressive stage performances I've ever seen. Just in terms of like,
so SoFi
production value.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
really
Absolutely. Now, so SoFi, did they have, because I went there for a bowl game, and don't they have the retractable roof? Did they have the roof open?
Roof was open.
The roof was open, and they had that
makes a difference, because when I saw it in Phoenix, I think they had the roof closed, and I don't like the acoustics. It was too echoey. I think it would have been way better outside.
Interesting. Yeah, the roof was open, and they had that huge screen all around, and it was just the just the
I thought I was in hell for a moment there.
Yeah,
because the way that they, Motley Crue's
their production on stage was just incredible.
That was cool. Yeah, all the
super cool.
It was really fun.
Screen things,
the smoke and sirens.
Yeah,
it was badass. And then Def Leppard were so good. We've seen Def Leppard
a few times.
That was the first time I seen Leppard. They were amazing.
Really?
And actually, I love the new song. The new song, they opened with a new song, and I was like, oh, I don't know this song. And I was like, I really like it. Like, and that's what's kind of funny. I guess I'm weird like that because I actually like hearing new music. That's why I say like the new Motley Crue. I'm like, I'm actually looking forward to this. I love the new Skid Row. Like, I love the old stuff too, but like, you can only hear the same songs over and over so many times. And you're like, okay, like I need to hear something new. I mean, that's like, as I was a kid, I would always get excited for new albums. So I think it's cool that the bands are still making new music, the ones that are.
Well, we're Jeff and I grew up musicians, and we, dipped our toe into music.
That's right. Yeah.
And I mean, as songwriters, it's like, obviously we never did anything near the level of any of the bands we're talking about, but it's like writing for us, and, writing screenplays, has replaced a lot of that passion for me. But writing music is just such a joy, and it's such a part of it. It's like, that's why I just sort of like, when any band is creating new music and putting new music out, there's always just a respect level of like, I always just look at it like, of course, like what else, how could you not write new music? And I look at it like it's just a major bonus if like, oh wow, that's actually really good. But yeah, you can't blame them or put it past them. It's like, that's what they do. They're musicians. They're writing. They write. They create. They're jamming. I know you had Gary Sharon on recently, right? And it's like,
that was a fun one.
Man, that new
cool guy.
That new extreme stuff is
so
insane.
Good.
It's insane. I mean, it's like that. I mean, that material, I don't know. That's as good as stuff as they've. I mean, it's as good. I put it up there with any of their good material.
Absolutely. Debbie wants to know what we think of Zach playing with Pantera. I personally, and I've said this, I've gone on record as saying this many times, I love the Pantera reunion because I was a Pantera fan. I saw them at least twice that I can remember in Seattle. Though that was a band that did come to Seattle, and it was epic. I mean, those shows were insane. And I just don't think it's fair that, like, if you didn't live in that era, you just don't get to see Pantera. And also for me, like, I would love to see them. I don't know if they're coming to Phoenix, but I would see it again. So I think it's great. And I think they did it right because they picked two people that are like epic, like, Charlie Benante, great drummer, and Zach Wilde, amazing guitarist. Like, I mean, I understand, I guess there's the backlash is like from the family, something about like, that they went on record saying they don't ever want a reunion or something like that. So I guess I can understand that, but I think they had the blessing of the family. So I don't know the politics behind all that. I just know for me as a fan, I want to hear Pantera songs. I want to hear Phil sing it. And, we got the original bass player, Zach Wilde. I don't think you could pick a better guitar player to replace Dimebag. Not that you could ever replace him, but for someone to step in and be a substitute. And Charlie as drums, I think that's great too. I would totally see that.
Yeah. It's that one baffles me that there's pushback on it, honestly. I mean, you know how it is. I think people will just always find something to bitch about because it's like, who was going to be a better person to fill that spot? And it gives another generation who maybe never got to see the band an opportunity to see a version of the band.
Yeah.
And, I'll tell you why that's important, where I deal with, like a firsthand kind of thing with that, where I really see the value in it is, I have a young son who, I've started my kids really early with the rock music, and it's, I was able to acclimate them very young and brainwash them very, very easily. And it worked very successfully. So they're major rock and metal heads very young. And I have a young son who is obsessed with Van Halen. I mean, just absolutely obsessed. He's been obsessed since he was like 3 years old. And he asks me all the time, Dad, will I ever get to see Van Halen? Will I ever get to see Van Halen? Will I ever get to see Van Halen? And it's like, you know, if they ever figure out a way to do some sort of tribute where if, you know, if Alex, Wolfgang, and, you know, who do you get to fill Eddie's shoes? Who knows? Maybe you get a few guys that kind of go in and out.
John Mayer comes to mind.
Yeah, John. Okay, I'll jump off a building if that happens.
I love John Mayer.
You don't like Jesse? That's a weird thing. Like people were telling me, one of my music teacher friends, the one that loves Saint Anger, said he loved John Mayer, and I was like, huh? Like the guy that's like, your body is a wonderland. But no, he's got this whole other catalog.
He does.
Yeah,
he's actually a really great guitar player.
He might
I plead ignorance on that. I didn't know that. I was like, oh, I just know like the hits. I didn't know he's actually like a really good guitar player.
He actually really
doing Van Halen.
Well, he was touring with Grateful Dead. He like filled Jerry Garcia's.
He's still doing that.
Yeah,
I think he still does that.
So that's pretty impressive. I mean,
yeah, no,
But I mean, Eddie Van Halen's another level. I mean, you can't. Yeah, and also his style is just so much different than those jam bands.
But yeah, so that's an example of like, look, whoever they get to fill Eddie's shoes, you know, there's going to be the pushback's going to be off the charts. But the reality is, I'll be the first one getting a ticket because my son, I got to see Van Halen. You know, I got to see Van Halen a few times. My son never did. And so this is going to be the closest, you know, because Dime's dead, Vinny's dead. It's like there is no version to go see that. If there was that, okay, well, then that's a different conversation. But
did you hear about the Van Halen reunion that they were trying to do?
I heard that
it was like Jason Newsted. So it's not even Michael Anthony, which is like, why don't you at least get Michael Anthony? He's alive. What did he do to piss off that camp so much?
No, they just
anyway. So it was Jason Newsted, and was it Satriani or
Satriani? I could see that.
I think it was Satriani or maybe I'm mixing him up with Steve Vai.
I don't think. You know what? I forget who the guitar player. Well, maybe it was Satriani. Maybe it was either Satriani or Vai. Either one of them.
Thank you, Debbie. Wow, that's nice. People can send money.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. Thank you,
Debbie. You're the bomb.
So it was and then it was gonna. I don't know if it was gonna even be Roth or Hagar or both. Like, but I mean, geez, it would be interesting to.
Yeah,
I like your idea, like having. I think having like a revolving door of like guitarists or something like that. Like do like a tribute show, like maybe do a residency in Vegas, and don't even call it Van Halen, call it like the Van Halen experience or something like that.
Yeah.
And have the Alex and have Michael Anthony and have Roth and Hagar, and then have a revolving door of guitar players, and you never know which guitar player is going to show up, and have multiple like each night. Like you could have like. People
Nuno, you can get Nuno in there. Yeah.
You could get Nuno. You could Steve Brown from Trickster. I know he's a huge. I mean, pretty much any guitar player. You could be like, hey, do you want to do a Van Halen song when you're in Vegas? Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I think anybody would say yes.
Yeah, get George Lynch in there. I'm sure he would. You know, be cool to see. It would be cool to see guitar players who have their own style. Bring their style to it, and it's like, look, that's as good as we're gonna get. You know, we're not gonna get Eddie again, and you know, again, for my young son, it's like that's as close as it's gonna get. And so, you know, I just don't understand the people hating on that. I don't get it. It's
there is a tribute band, the Atomic Punks, probably some other ones too, but I know that one, especially because it used to be the singer of Steel Panther.
Yes.
Was the singer of Atomic Punks, and that's when they were like really good. Supposedly, I never saw them, but like people were like, "Holy shit, this is like Roth era Van Halen at its peak." And now I think it's not that the same, but I think it's still pretty good. And I think there's probably some other Van Halen tributes that are. I've seen like Motley Crue tributes and Alice in Chains. And I've seen so many tribute things like that, and they're usually pretty good. Like they're usually. Because it's usually a younger guy who can sing those things, and
you've seen somebody who can do Alice in Chains vocals live. and pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, I think that yeah, maybe it was I saw an STP one. There's one that's here that's local. I'm trying to remember the name of it now. I'm spacing on it. I know the singer is Casey Jones, and he went viral for this video where he did that song Zombie, like the cover though. It's like not Five Finger Death Punch, but who's Bad Wolves.
Bad Wolves, yeah.
So he did a karaoke version of that, and it went viral. But he sings in it's like a tribute to STP and Alice in Chains, and he does a pretty good job. Wow, and I think it sounds really good. And so yeah, I mean that's just one, but I think they're probably multiple. So I mean, yeah, it's just like, yeah, could you do it exactly? Is it going to be exactly like Lane said? No, but even the new singer that they have in Alice in Chains, he's really good. Like he's a really good singer too.
He's great. Yeah. Michael Lombardi just shot a music video with the singer of Alice in Chains. I'm forgetting his name now.
William Duvall.
William Duvall. He did a guest spot on
Is he doing a solo?
On a Who song. The Who.
Oh,
they do.
Really?
They do a couple songs on our soundtrack, and he did a guest vocal, and so he shot a music video. He directed a music video with him, and he said he was just like the nicest guy. He said he was just such a cool guy.
Wow, I was trying to get him on my show. I was very close to having Jerry Cantrell on. Like it sounded like they were going to have him, and then they said the publicist was like, no, actually he's not going to do it. I was like, it was like one of those ones where you get excited. You're like, oh, I got a response. And like, there's been a lot of those. That's like this year, like 2023 for me is a lot of this. Like the publicist says like, yeah, I'm looping in this person on. And then when they loop in the other person, the other person always says, no, we're not doing that. So,
oh man.
Yeah. But it's nice to like be like at least in consideration.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
If you can ever put in a word for Alan Kovacs, I would love to have him on the show. I think he's probably got some really good stories.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, what I'll do too is make sure I get you connected. You interviewed Michael Lombardi, right?
I did. Yeah, he was super nice. I love that guy.
Yeah. I'll make sure Michael loops back with you, and he's moved pretty high up with the company. So,
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So he might be able to help as far as when it comes to booking and all of that. So I'll definitely make sure.
I would love, this is a crazy thought. I would love for Alan to manage me. I mean, I know he doesn't have any podcasters, but like maybe he should step into that space, because that's like a growing space. And I mean, I feel like, we need to have a podcaster that, has a little backing behind them. That's production. And so I feel like Alan could help me a lot. I'm sure that he has a lot of good business decisions and management advice that he could give me and help me out. So I think that would be cool. But at the very least, I'd love to have him on the show, even for 30 minutes or so.
He's great.
Yeah, he's really
he
awesome.
feels Jeff and I, it's like when you talk to him, you feel like you're talking to it's like he's so calm, and he feels very wise, and he also feels very it's like there's like this Godfather sort of vibe when you're talking to him, but it's all like you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's but in a very,
does he fly like the private jets? Like how rich is he? Because he manages not only my crew, but like, doesn't he do like Papa Roach and all those people on the soundtrack? Right?
He does. I don't. He might be. I honestly don't know.
I don't live. He's not. He doesn't throw it around.
No,
like
what I've usually found. Yeah, what I've found is typically the guys that have a lot of money don't flaunt it in that way. So like, when
we were like squished in the backseat of a car with him
we were
at one point coming back from like a restaurant.
Oh, and
we were cracking jokes.
We were these people too. We'll save $10.
He wasn't like rolling down a limo window like,
no,
boys. Like it wasn't like that at all.
No, we were squished in a car. We were like dying laughing. We were we were cracking each other up, and
he's very personable.
Yeah, very cool. And he just he's a dad and a husband and just a cool guy. And it's typically I don't know. Typically people that flaunt it really seem to be
that's an insecurity thing. So they have this thing, what they call it here? So I live in Scottsdale, Arizona. Scottsdale is kind of like, it's like a wannabe LA, I guess. but they call it a 30K millionaire. You know, it's these guys, they make $30,000 a year, but they act like $1 million. They have the really nice suit and the fake Rolex or whatever. And they're at the club and stuff, and they're buying the fancy drinks and everything, but they don't make any money. They're going home in an Uber or something. You know, they're not. It's funny.
I told Jeff not to get a Ferrari when the Retaliators came out.
Hey, it's doing really well, right? I mean, I saw these like Fangoria, like, I mean, the list of good reviews. I don't know what the Rotten Tomatoes is at now,
well.
but
we're
nobody hates this movie. Everyone that's actually seen it, and now it's getting a wider audience with Amazon. We trying to get people to see it.
Yeah, we feel so.
Unless you're a comic book movie star, then it's different.
Yeah.
If it's Spider-Man 27, you're golden. But if it's like an independent, you're starting from scratch, it's hard to get people to see the movie.
I always joke and laugh about. I mean, when all of our reviews were embargoed for like 30 days, and we legitimately thought. I just always tell the story of Jeff and I getting lunch the day before all our reviews were going to drop. And I was just trying to prep my own brain and help prep Jeff's. I was like, we're going to get fucking cremated tomorrow. Like, we're going to get, am I okay with language, by the way? Or
fucking shit, pussy,
okay, good. Okay.
Balls, like whatever you want to say.
And so I said, I go, we're, you know how it is. Horror just doesn't get respect. And we're just
the grindhouse type.
And our movie has
my
like
favorite cut type though.
Yeah, totally.
The gory stuff like that.
And we and it's we have such a love letter going on to like the canon films of the 80s and the like Jeff said, the grindhouse films, and there's a serious tone in there too. Absolutely. And there's that's the thing, we just did such a kind of a weird hybrid that we just were like, we know not everyone's going to get this, and and when we woke up to the very first festival we were at, saying we were the crowd pleaser of the festival, I mean, we were just like, our mouths hit the floor. We just couldn't believe it. We were like, really? And they were like, yeah. And they sent us a video of the crowd, and it was over in the UK. It was in London, and it was this packed theater laughing at the end of our movie, getting the joke, because the end of the movie has all this sort of extreme gore and violence,
dark humor kind of.
It's supposed to be funny, and it's supposed to be you're supposed to be cheering and laughing kind of thing at the end, and
you're supposed to be having fun, which is a cardinal sin for some. I feel like
right, you are allowed to have fun in entertainment still, right?
No, I was just having this conversation with a comedian. I was like, is it hard being a comedian now? Like, you don't want to you don't want to piss people off, but you got to make people laugh. And
right.
No, exactly. That's what I love about this movie. It's like, it's fun. Like, it's a throwback. It's not woke or whatever. If some people, not that it's anti anything, it's just
it's not like we're going after anything.
It's not like, we're not making any social statements, we're not making any political statements. It's entertainment. It's
this isn't our pro Law and Order film.
We tried to talk about that last time. I was like, hey, is this part where you're trying to send a social message and you go, you guys are like, no, we weren't doing anything.
We were trying to make each other laugh.
We were trying to make each other laugh,
or just get excited.
And listen, the fact that we're at, I think we're at Rotten Tomatoes, we're at like 88. It's insane. I mean, we don't. No one's more pleased and surprised than we are. I mean, it is fun. The negative reviews we do have, we definitely, like anything, we have some. They're fun. They're really funny. I mean,
they're actually
we laugh at them because they're.
I feel like they're performance art, but presumably these are serious people.
Well, they're so fun because it is funny to hear how insane they are. Because like there's like my favorite one is the headline of it is like, this is your two high school. It's this.
Your
two high school bullies just wrote a movie, and it's like, what?
Hey, you did, okay? I was a bully in high school. I used to bully Darren in high school.
Yeah, it's like you must not know us, you know. And it is so funny because I'm just it weirdly strikes a chord personally because I'm like, not that our movie doesn't make any statements, but bullying is like hits a real chord with me. Like I hate seeing kids get bullied. I hate it's like a soft spot for me. And so to have a headline say that, it just shows you just people just say things, and
you're a self-hating bully.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't even make sense with the message of the movie.
It makes no sense. Well, what they see it as is like there's too much machismo, or like there's too much masculinity in
too much masculine imagery.
Toxic masculinity. Did they use? I fucking hate that phrase so much.
But but some people really embraced it, and the kind of. They found it refreshing that there was a kind of a masculinity to the film that wasn't trying to make any kind of political statement with it. It was a throwback to those 90s action films.
Yeah, totally.
The Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, if you go back and look at Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, it's like, what am I going to stop watching those because they're too masculine or something?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the right.
Well, and what made us feel good too, because we had one of the other reviews was it was like this is a resolutely sexist film, right? And we're like, what? I mean, it was just like, what is how can we were just so baffled. And what was cool was there's this now I hate that I can't remember because I want to give them a shout out, but there's this feminist horror or feminine centric horror like zine, and they love the film. And
really,
and what was great was they said, you know what, leave the sensitivities at the door. This movie is just made to kick ass. You're supposed to have fun. Don't.
Yeah, because as a feminist, I mean, if you know the story and the true story behind it, like, this is a very pro woman movie.
Totally,
I mean, you're standing up for women and retaliating. I mean, I don't want to give the movie away. People need to see it. It's free on Amazon Prime, but it's definitely not anti anything. It's just a fun movie. Good, great. Totally. Is it doing? Are you getting a good reaction from it being on Prime? How long has it been on Amazon Prime?
We just been on Prime. Just got on there like a week ago. Yeah, heck yeah, Debbie.
Thanks, Debbie.
We're so far we've gotten definitely an outpouring of very positive feedback of people really excited that it's finally on streaming, and we're so excited. And
we are on Blu-ray too. That was the first next push that I felt like I noticed. It was like, we have some new reviews, like audience reviews and stuff.
Because how was it originally released? Because I saw it, I got like a special advanced screening. Was it only like you had to buy a DVD, or was it you had to be at the festival, or what?
We had like it came out in festivals. We were in like 30 festivals. Then it came out in.
I don't believe IMDb. It's not a 2021 film.
It
hit the festival in 2021.
But
we got a proper theatrical release.
Theatrical release in 22, but it technically was a one-night screening. We had
multiple nights,
some extra days. it was a little complicated, but we had essentially we were out. Essentially for like basically a couple days out in theaters. Then we got released to VOD, and to anywhere where you can rent or buy movies. We did well on there. We charted.
That's video on demand, like where people have to pay.
Like you're on Amazon Prime.
$5.
You got to pay $4.99 to rent.
That's not bad.
And we charted well on iTunes and charted well on Amazon, and we did really well on Vudu and on really all of the services. And then, as Jeff said, then we went to Blu-ray, and we went in brick and mortar. We were in I think every Best Buy. We're still in every Best Buy, and we sold really well. And we were so tickled. We would get all of these, these messages on social media of horror fans just taking a chance on it, just seeing the cover and going, I'm just going to give it a whirl. And we're like, wow, that is so cool. And then doing reviews and we love the artwork. It's definitely very, it's got a very throwback kind of feel. And if you're into, it's got that kind of 70s grindhousey kind of look to it. And so, that was really cool. But streaming on Amazon Prime, this is the biggest of all of that. And all of that was phenomenal. Right. This is the biggest exposure we've had because
by far.
There's like 200 million Amazon Prime subscribers. So this gives us a really big opening to an audience. And so far, so good.
Anyone with Prime can watch it for free.
Yeah.
So how do you get signed? Can anyone get a movie? Is it hard to get a movie on Amazon Prime?
Listen, we would be lying if we said we knew the business part. Awesome, hell yeah.
Let us know what you think about it.
Let us know what you think. We're on Instagram, the Geare Brothers, the underscore Geare underscore Brothers. Listen, it took a while for us to get on there. I know it wasn't easy. And then I know, there's plans for more streamers and things like that. We have a distribution company and Better Noise that are working on all of that all the time. And Michael's working on that. So we just got launched essentially about a week ago. So we really appreciate you helping us get the word out, Chuck.
I hope. I wish I had a bigger audience, but hey, this will stay up here. It'll be on my YouTube channel, so people want to go back and watch this. This is a fun. And my original interview with you guys is still there too. It's
hell yeah.
Very cool. December or something like that. So that was a fun one.
Yeah,
we talked about. We'll go in more depth about the actual film. But people should definitely check it out. I kind of want to watch it again just because, it was really good. Now, I think we talked about last time there was already a script for the sequel or it's close to being done or something, right?
No, what we have been focusing on is a new script. And we just literally just finished it. Not related to the Retaliators.
It's called The Realtors. It was fan sourced.
Yes. This is The Realtors. As Jeff said, no. It's something totally different. We have been working really hard on it. We've kind of been in the cave. We're in the cave right now.
We're in a literal cave.
Yes,
right now. We're in Jed's cave. You'll understand when you see the film. But
we just got done, and the early feedback has been overwhelming. We've just been getting incredible response. So
we might be off to the races within. I mean, matter of days, weeks.
We've got some. We're working on some stuff. So
the next Geare Brothers production is coming.
We're cooking something right now. As far as future Retaliators, nothing official in the works. We have, I think what we might have been telling you is we built out the universe there and we're ready to go for, we have basically an outline for the sequel. And if we needed to even, we conceptualized what if this was serialized, if this was ever to go to TV,
it's got prequel potential.
We sort of looked at it at all directions and kind of said, how would it look? And we really kind of mapped it all out. So we've got a lot of ideas in that universe still. So, and I'd love to, I'd love to take a stab at graphic novel when it comes to the Retaliators. I mean, there's definitely a lot there. I'd love to do, but for now, as I said, we literally right this second are at finally our biggest audience exposure is right now. So
So wait, so what's the next project then? Can you say anything about it?
I gotta
be. Is it a comedy?
It is a horror, but it is definitely in Geare Brothers, in a Geare Brothers fashion. It is. We tried to do something unique. and
also kind of outdoing ourselves too. I think we feel like we've elevated.
Yeah,
too.
We tried to really. This one's explores humor more. I mean, we're definitely one thing about the Retaliators is that the humor kind of comes in at the end.
Or at least it's subtle,
and it's
much more subtle.
Yeah, much more subtle.
Yeah.
This one, we sort of have it a little more overt throughout, but yet we tried to top the third act in this one, and I think we did.
Are you talking more like Shaun of the Dead, kind of like horror comedy?
No, I wouldn't say that.
No, I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say that. It's
because I love that movie.
It's a great. I love Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Great movie. I don't know. It's hard to explain the tone of it. There's elements that we're just very excited about.
I just got a text from our attorney. We need to cut this. I'm just kidding. No.
As soon as we are able to start sharing about it, we this will be our first stop for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
The first stop. Wow. That's
yeah.
That's,
of course, man.
Hey, I just get my audience will just grow. So
hell yeah.
I might have actually like 3, 4, 5 viewers next time.
Well, hell yeah.
Let's
do it.
So yeah, no, that's cool. I'm excited for that. Yeah. So, and maybe a sequel as well. Somebody else wanted to jump in and say they love the Retaliators. Awesome.
Thank you, Bianca.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
got a killer
nice.
Bunny down there. That's cool.
That's
just the kind of audience we need. It's like people who love that kind of stuff.
Have you guys ever seen that meme where it says like, "Hey, here's a movie idea. An 80s bully goes back in time or goes forward in time into like the current 2023." Is that not the girl? Like, is someone gonna write that movie? I feel like that is a movie that needs to be made.
I feel like that's 21 Jump Street, right? Like Channing Tatum, he was a bully and then he gets transported. I
don't know.
I mean, it's not really that. I get what you're saying. Yeah,
like Home Alone.
Legit.
I think in the meme it shows the kid for the bully from home. What's the kid's the brother's name?
Buzz.
Yeah, it's Buzz. And it says movie idea: an 80s bullies is transported in time to the current day. And it's like, dude, that would be an epic movie. Like it would probably get canceled for making it, but I mean, secretly, like people would be laughing and think it's really funny. Like I think it would be a really good idea. I don't know. Interesting if someone actually made it.
That is that sounds up our alley completely, actually.
Because too, I feel like it could actually solve the world's problems. Like we could be like, you know what? We could laugh at how stupid we were in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then the people of the 80s can go, you know what? Like it's stupid today, but also like we were pretty stupid in the 80s. Maybe we could both learn from each other. Like there could be character growth. I mean, it could really
build a bridge.
A real movie. Like, the bully could learn something, be like, you know what? I need to be more sensitive. And then he might teach the people of today that, hey, maybe lighten up a little bit. And,
have a little fun,
Yeah. I love 80s bullies. You
love them.
The comedian I just had on, he jokes like he looks like an 80s bully. He's like, yeah, if I was in a movie in the 80s, like I would definitely be challenging the main character to a ski competition.
Oh yeah, like the preppy bullies, like in Better Off Dead or something, Yeah.
What I love about the 80s bullies is it is hilarious how often they legitimately look like they're 35 years old, but they're supposed to be like a junior in high school.
Although, granted, people did just look older. I know that's more of a meme for the 70s, but like,
I saw a picture the other day, and it was like kids in high school. It was legit kids in high school. It wasn't a movie, and they looked older. I was like,
it looked like Matthew McConaughey now. It's like, what?
I know it is a weird thing, right? It really is a trip. Yeah,
I think it's partly how they dress too, though, because I feel like they dressed more. I mean, especially if you go back to like the 50s or something. I mean, kids wore like suits to school, and now it's like when you wear baggy pants and a hat sideways, I mean, you just look younger. You do. So,
and I guess it's hairstyles too.
Yeah, you just think oh, that's what my parents dressed like.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So they just look inherently older. I don't know. It's like an illusion. It's almost like the fucking moon illusion or something.
It is weird though, because you go back and those bullies are just like, man, they just look so old.
Like Shooter McGavin's in high school.
No, yeah. At least he wasn't in high school. That's a good adult bully, right? That's a good adult.
That's
bully,
one of my favorite adult bullies. I think. Yeah, Shooter McGavin.
Yeah. Well, and the kid, the obviously one of the most famous is the Karate Kid. That kid, but he,
of course,
what's that kid? William
Zabka.
Zabka, yeah, because he's in
great.
another movie. I think it's called Just One of the Guys, which I don't think you can make that movie today.
No,
but that's filmed here in Arizona, and like a lot of those filming locations are right around where I live. But it's interesting. He played like almost the same role in that movie. I feel like he was a bully in that one too.
He was a good bully.
I saw that movie in the drive-in with my mom when I was a kid. Completely inappropriate. I love that movie to this day. So I met the
so how inappropriate was it?
It was, well, listen, there was a moment, all guys.
There's a topless scene.
I've never seen it, actually.
There was a big moment you would remember if you saw it. Let's say
you don't forget that if you're a 13-year-old boy.
When you were 13, the pause button got a lot of
wear and tear.
a lot of wear and tear on one particular moment.
All right, I got
so what do you do when your mom is there? Like, what do you? How do you?
Well, that was an '80s.
Sexy.
That was an '80s thing because '80s movies and '90s movies
too. I remember watching Highlander, the Highlander with Mario Van Peebles with my dad. This was in the '90s, and literally, there's like in the middle, there's like a 10 minutes like softcore sex scene.
Yeah, well, that was
I'm just
every
sitting there
movie.
like horrified. Me and my dad not saying a fucking word for like the full, not looking at each other,
so
just
awkward.
Like, when is this? I remember my dad going, "Hey, maybe we should fast forward a little."
Yeah. Well, that was back in the 80s and 90s. You had to. It was just a prerequisite. You had to have the sex scene, and even movies that were pretty, like even movies that are considered very kid friendly. I think most people would consider big to be just like, oh, that's just a super kid friendly movie. There's still a total sex scene in there where he's like, got his hand on her boobs, and it's like a whole thing. And it's like every freaking movie, you'd watch with your parents, and you'd have to deal with this like super uncomfortable moment. But the funniest story, this is my favorite story ever. So when it comes to this, I was at my friend's. I think I told this. No, this is. I don't even know which one you're talking about. But this was the Dream Warriors. We were on a podcast talking about Dream Warriors, one of the best horrors ever. And
Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Sorry, to be exact.
For those who don't know.
Yes. And so I'm at my Bianca. So I'm at my buddy's house. Let's see, what year did that come out? 87 or so. We're maybe 9 or something. And I am at his house, and now I've seen the movie like 30 times, like a mental patient.
Oh, I know the scene you're talking about. Okay, I was like, what scene are you talking about?
I've watched it over and over and over again. So I know that coming up, the nurse is going to unbutton her shirt, and her boobs are going to come out, and then the dude, I think the guy licks her boobs, and then his tongue turns.
I don't know if he licks, but definitely the tongues wrap around his wrists.
Something, I'm getting it. But anyway, there was a full boobage.
I think they just kissed. It was just the kiss.
No, I'm telling you, it was something.
There was no
some boob stuff going on.
Somebody
verify, but I think there's some boob stuff going on. But it was. This is now to a second tier. This isn't even my mom I'm watching this with. This is my best friend's mom I'm now sitting with. So it was so
is she
awkward.
Attractive? Or are you kind of like,
is this Stacey's mom?
No. This is just, she's like a mom, like my mom. So it was just uncomfortable. So what I did was I went, okay, the scene's coming up. I timed it out. I was like, it's coming up in about 30 seconds. And I was like, I'm going to go act like I got to take a piss. So I'm like, so I get up, I go to the nurse seat. There we go.
Yep.
So I go, I go to the bathroom, and I basically just like count, I count to 30. I'm like, okay, it's probably, then I go back in. And when I come into the den, the TV's paused. And my buddy's looking at me because he knows what I did.
On the boobs?
It's paused on the nurse.
No, on the nurse.
On the nurse, right before the boobs.
So he knew.
And he goes, he knew what I was doing. And he looks at me and he goes, hey, Darren, I paused it for you. Don't worry. And then he presses play, and I went, oh, you son of a bitch, because he knew I was leaving him alone with his mom, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, he's like, I can't do this alone, dude. I can't do this alone.
Yeah, that's right. Because you totally threw a grenade on him. Wow,
I was
you did, man.
I completely threw him under, and he threw it right back. It was like, I threw him in the out of the foxhole, and he threw the grenade right back in the foxhole. It was
that's hilarious. That's definitely an issue. Yeah, they don't see that as much today. Although
it's gone.
It's
gone.
Well,
it's not. Have you guys seen The Idol on HBO?
It's come back to TV.
It's ubiquitous in TV.
Yes,
pretty much.
it has come back to. That's where it lives, is on TV. But in movies, it's pretty much.
I'm not a big fan of the sex scene. At least when thinking of things I like to make. I mean, if they're there, it's more of a, you see the beginning and then
Jeff
you see
knows
the end.
his girlfriend is watching, so he's saying this is the
what is my favorite?
I don't like to see boobs.
What is my
in movies.
I have this conversation.
What's my favorite?
Right.
Wait, hang on. Wait, boobs and sex scene are two different things, though.
Well, that's where you get the sex scene.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. I have this conversation with my girlfriend all the time because I'm like, I tell her, I'm like, this is stupid. Okay, if you're gonna have a sex scene, you cannot have a sex scene where they have sex with their shirt on. It's not realistic. Nobody has sex with their shirt on. Okay, so just don't have the sex scene or show it from an angle where you can't see the boobs. That's fine.
I mean, that's annoying.
No girl has sex with a bra on.
On the TV,
So let me get this. I'm gonna get this straight. I want to get some clarity here. So you like a gratuitous shower scene?
Yes,
but you don't want
but don't give me a sex scene. Yeah, because the sex I mean, what's my favorite movie of all time? If you had to guess?
Porky's?
Norm of the North?
Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Okay.
That's a great movie.
And what's funny is when I was a really little kid, I think this was just totally by accident, but I would always tell my mom, she was going to the video store. She'd say, what do you want, Jeffrey? And I'd say, Terminator. I don't even know why, but I said Terminator. I must have been like 5.
So she got the first one?
No, she never got the first one. She only give me T2. And I think it's because they didn't have the first one there. It was like such a cheap video store.
No boobs in
the first
T2.
one's rated R.
No, right.
The second one's rated PG-13.
Yeah.
Second one's rated R. Second one's for R2. Yeah.
There's no nudity.
But there's no nudity. But my point is,
you're jumping topics.
No. I avoided the Terminator that had the sex scene in it, and that Terminator 2 became like my paradigm great film for like the rest of my life. And it doesn't even have a love story. You know what I mean? It's just, it's all the different kinds of human relations. It's the father-son, it's the mother-son, it's machine and man. And, it's got all these other rich themes, but it doesn't have love in it. And, I think if you want to make a great film, you don't need that.
That's but it also doesn't have boobs in a shower either.
That's true.
And,
that's true.
And I know you like that in your movies too. So let's not get all film theory.
That's almost become like a stereotype though in a horror movie where you're like, okay, here comes the shower. The boobs are coming. Like, it's almost like a cliche. I feel like it's not very creative. I feel like they need to find different ways. Like, I know they would try to do like Friday the 13th, but they do like, well, let's go skinny dipping. And it's like, okay, like, does that really happen? I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you're a cool kid.
I see ones where it's like, oh, I gotta go take a dump. You know what I mean? It's like a chick going into the bathroom.
Where is this? Okay, so this is Debbie.
I am not playing it off.
I agree with you, Debbie. I agree with you.
I'm not saying
he's getting all hoity-toity on us. He's like, listen here, I don't need.
But I think my point is like you don't need the sex scene. I mean, you don't need it. But if you're gonna do it, go all in. Don't show the girl having sex with a bra on, because that's not realistic. It's really stupid.
Like Top Gun Maverick did a tasty one with Tom Cruise and
you just like because you got to see Tom with his shirt off for a minute.
Well, I mean,
hey, Tom looks great for however old he is. I don't know what
you got to give it up.
He's drinking, but I'll take a cup of that.
You got to give it up to TC. You got to give it up.
Yeah. He made a deal. He made a deal.
That's a good one. That's a good love scene. There you go. Risky business on the train.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie, and so I
so
can't
you gotta
remember.
see
Yeah,
that.
I don't remember
Oh,
that.
you got to see that
I gotta
on the
see that.
train.
Who's the
really
woman in
long time.
Risky Business? She's famous,
Rebecca
right?
De Mornay.
Yeah,
She was smoking in
The
that.
Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Great movie, great
That
thriller.
was a scary movie. I remember that
movie.
there was a scene filmed in my hometown. I was like, that's the medical facility in Issaquah where I'm from, and I was like,
oh wow.
But yeah, she was really creepy in that.
She was. She's great in that. Yeah, that's a fun. I love that genre of thriller. It's sort of in the Fatal Attraction. It was when we were teens. Yeah, sort of in that Fatal Attraction sort of thriller genre. I love that genre.
There's so many good movies out now. I feel like people complain that there's no good movies and stuff, but you just gotta like look and find it. And that's
absolutely.
They just don't get the kind of distribution they used to. They don't get the same kind of distribution they used to get. Like they're not coming out in the theater like it used to, but they're getting distributed on Amazon and Netflix.
Yeah.
And
there's so
HBO.
many that
they're out
there randomly now. Find this like horror movie because I love horror is probably my top genre, honestly. I mean, comedy, I love comedy too, but I feel like they just don't make very many good comedies. But you can find a good thriller or horror like on so many, and like I'll find all these like ones that I've never heard of, but I'll find it on Hulu or Prime or Netflix, and they're like movies that no one's ever heard of, and they're really good. And I'm like, why is this not a bigger movie? This movie was so fucking good. And so I try to highlight as many as I can.
The other thing too is
like if I find a really good one, I'll invite the directors or screenwriters on my show, but I usually get turned down. So
yeah, we appreciate that.
we definitely do.
I appreciate you taking the time to do it. Yeah, because so many just ignore me. Like I'm trying to remember. Oh, what's this one guy? I forget his name, but he's done a few of them, and he acts, directs. I might even write him, and he's so good. I have to look it up after this, but he does a bunch of movies, and he's super talented. And I sent him a message on Instagram, and he liked the message, but he didn't. He's like, he didn't want to do my podcast.
He nibbled, but he didn't bite. Yeah.
It's like, but I get it. I mean, he probably doesn't have to, because like there's just, I guess he felt like he didn't. I mean, but a lot of people don't know who he is, so I feel like you need the exposure. Some people really try to push the marketing thing, and some don't. So it's interesting to see that.
Yeah. Anybody complaining about not having movies to watch? The other thing I would say too is just embrace bad movies because I love
really, I'm the opposite. If I start a movie and I'm 30 minutes in and it sucks, at this point in my life, back in the in the day when you would rent a movie and you paid $3 to rent, I was like, I'm finishing this fucking movie.
There's an investment. There's
so many fucking movies on streaming. If I'm like 20-30 minutes in, I'm like, I can tell it's a turd. I go, nah, fuck this, and I turn it off.
There's two, but see, there's, Jeff and I have gone over this in like on like Inception levels of detail. There's many layers of what a bad movie is. So there's bad movies that you turn on and you truly are thinking, I want this movie to be good. And you turn it on and go, oh, this sucks, or this is whatever. And then you turn it off. Yes, I agree. And I have no patience in that sense. But I'm saying I seek out bad. It's
really bad. You're saying like comically bad.
Like my favorite are movies that are earnestly made, but are bad. So they come from, you go 70s, 80s, 90s, thousands to even modern day. And there's lots. There's a lot.
Or just really cynically bad. There's some of those too. You know what I mean?
I remember
people know, this action stuff. You know what I mean? Then they cobble together like a terrible action movie. Those are.
To me, it's inspirational. I love it.
Well, because they put their finger on the tropes in a way, you know what I mean? But it's kind of funny. It's fun to see how they,
When I was in college, I went to see a movie with my buddy, and we went to see The Slums of Beverly Hills with Natasha Lyonne. And that was okay. But then he goes afterwards, he was like, hey, I'm going to, you ever do this where you go to a movie? This is how big of a movie nerd that me and my friends are. Like, we would go to a movie and then we would stay in the theater and go sneak into a different movie.
Yes.
So he was going to go to, so we saw that and we're like, yeah, it was okay. He goes, I'm going to go see Knockoff. with Van Damme. You want to stick around? And I was like,
Oh,
I
hell
don't think so. He goes, dude, you made the right decision. That movie was so fucking bad. And the way he described it was so. And then I was like, I got to see this because his description of how bad it was made me want to see it. Like how he said the credits were like spray painted on, and like it's a knockoff. He's like, you put a bomb in the jeans, like it's so stupid.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, see, Van Damme, Seagal, you know, Arnie, Chuck Norris, Stallone, Charles Bronson. I mean, there's actual quality films with some of those guys, and then there's just really terrible ones, and
the ones that don't work, they kind of work in not working. You know, that's where you get the Inception level. Mechanics here.
Yeah,
well, especially over time, like it becomes even more dated and cheesy.
It's a wine. Yeah,
it's true.
It's an aged wine.
When you watch Raw Deal with Arnold Schwarzenegger,
she was murdered, molested, and mutilated. It's like accent isn't like
it's still so bad, but it is so great. I mean,
all the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies,
they all dated great, wonderful. I mean,
like Commando. Commando's like so fun, but it's like it's cheesy. I feel like it was cheesy even then, but now it's like even just how do you take that seriously? Like it's almost like a comedy.
I watched it recently, like a week, like maybe a month ago, top to bottom.
Oh, it's so
and I couldn't turn it off.
Oh, you can't,
because it's just so absurd.
You can't. It's so great.
Like the woman with the that he kidnaps, picks up the bazooka, fires it the wrong way, or whatever.
And you got those fucking steel drums on the soundtrack the whole fucking time. It's like every 2 seconds.
That intro, he's with like the deer, like chopping wood. It's like, what was this? This like political campaign?
Is that the one where he kills the guy in the plane?
Yes.
And then he's like, I need a pillow for my friend. He's dead tired.
Yeah.
Oh, you said you wouldn't kill me. Or
so
you said you kill me last. He's like, I lied.
Oh, the one-liners.
Oh, now I want to watch that movie.
Yeah,
I know. I'm gonna throw it on tonight.
Yeah. One-liners.
Is that on Prime? Dude, we have like all the streaming.
It is on Prime.
We have Netflix, Hulu, every like HBO, Showtime, all that. Prime. God, I think I have a Shudder. Do you have Shudder?
Yes, Shudder's great.
That is a cool one. We just watched. What is the Influencer? That was kind of a good one.
I fucking loved that movie. I forgot to tell you.
Yeah, you haven't told me about that because I haven't seen it. I would have watched it if you.
You know what? And the only thing I would say, and I think I know why they did it, and they probably made. I mean, it's probably the right move for today. I wish they wouldn't have titled it that. And I think they probably did because it probably will get more views because of.
I'm surprised no one else had used that title.
Yeah, but I really think I don't know. I think it throws you off from because that girl. I don't want to give anything away, but the lead, who really is the lead. Oh man, I mean, she is just so evil, so good. I don't know. I feel like it was, and she's not an influencer. You know what I mean? So
that's true. Yeah.
It's sort of a, I don't know. I feel like the title probably was used. It's probably smart. They're probably going to get more, do more sales. They're probably going to do better with it titled that. And you think the movie's going to be about this influencer. So I mean, it makes sense. But for me, I don't know. I feel like a different title might have it sort of sells it short a little bit to me because I feel like it was it's pretty epic. I mean, it's freaking good, man.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Really good writing, really good acting. Love. I mean, just really good. I was so pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that was a good one. I'm trying to remember I don't know who wrote or directed that one, but they've got a good career on their hands for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, that was good. Did you see, Jeff, I think I forgot to talk to you about this one too. Did you see?
You're forgetting a lot, dude.
Yeah. Speak No Evil.
No.
Yes, that sounds familiar. Remind me again which one that is. I feel like I saw that.
Okay, you couldn't have forgotten it because it's a.
Is that the Dustin Hoffman one, Underground?
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, I know what this is.
Speak No Evil is a really, really, a phenomenal movie, but a really fucked up movie. I mean, disturbing. It's I don't want to give no spoilers. So it's about the family staying with another family, and they have a child who
right. They're on vacation. It's like a kind of a foreign film, is it? Or like
it's a foreign film. Did you see that?
That's right. Yeah.
Oof, that one, just that ending, man, like holy shit.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. And then what was the was it just called Evil Dead? They did a remake, or what was the one that
which one?
Oh, Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead Rise. Oh, have you guys seen that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was good.
I
that
loved
was
it.
intense.
Loved
it was like from nonstop, from beginning to end. It just did not let up the whole movie. I was like, wow, this is like better than I expected. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, oh,
yeah, I think the first time I saw the trailer, I was maybe a little skeptical, but I'll tell you, I could already tell from the trailer that the aesthetic was really cool. When they had that, they showed the lake shot where the girl's like standing up, like kind of hovering over it with the music. Oh. I remember that from the first time I saw that in a trailer in the theater. That was haunting. I was like, okay, this looks legit.
Oh no, that shot
like a legit vision behind this film, and it did not disappoint.
Another performance that just blew me away.
She was phenomenal.
Her performance, the main
actor,
actress in that. I don't remember her name, but she was so good, so good in that.
And I forget, because I forget who directed that one. I'm assuming if Sam Raimi produced
it. It was an Irish director. Don't remember his name, but it wasn't Sam Raimi.
Well, I mean, he produced it though, right? So he would have been behind, so he maybe like he has a good vision. Like he's good at producing. He knows how to like hire certain directors to direct certain movies.
Sam Raimi.
That's a very underrated job, knowing who to hire to do to helm a project.
Huge.
Because you can pick anybody if you're Sam Raimi.
Debbie said she wanted us to comment on Dead Silence before she went.
I'm trying to remember that one. I feel like I know the poster. Isn't it like the guy?
Is that Lee Whannell?
Like this?
Is that Lee Whannell or James Wan?
I don't know.
It's one of them. It's the doll. It's the
ventriloquist dummy.
Ventriloquist.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
I did see that. I feel like it was. You're right. I think it's the director of Saw. And I feel like I remember liking that. I don't remember a lot about it. I should watch it again.
Believe I've never
surprised me because I've seen a lot of their movies.
I love both.
I try to be a completist with them, but there's a couple I've missed. Yeah.
That guy doesn't. Every movie he's ever made. What was the one about the twins? That one was so crazy. I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch, but it was really good.
I like Malignant.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, that was a fun movie.
Yeah.
That was good. Oh wait, Donnie Wahlberg he's in Dead Silence. I know he's in one of the
so
Saws.
That makes sense because he was in Saw, so they probably
Saw 2 or 3 or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was 2.
Dude, I want to watch that tonight.
Dead Silence.
Yeah. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed that one, but I think I did.
Yeah, there's so much. It's cool because what you can do is just like you could just type in like best horror movies of 2023 or of 2022 or whatever, and like you'll go through the list and you'll find all these great horror movies. If you try to like just search it through the apps, I feel like they're not very. The app will like push like the bad movies sometimes.
I feel like you don't. Yeah, Netflix is like that where I feel like you don't get the back catalog. I love Prime I think is good like that where you really get a sense of the depth.
It just has there's just so much on Prime. You can feel a little
Maybe
lost
that's
in
what
the
it
sea.
is.
A lot of them. Yeah, there's a lot. But yeah, I feel like to me that's the best way to find stuff is to go whatever you're looking for. Best horror, best comedy, best action, whatever. Best movies of the 80s or whatever you're in the mood for. Like find these like lists on these websites, and then especially if they have the Rotten Tomatoes rating on there too. That helps. And then that's how I found The Influencer. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, wow, this is like, it's like really one of the best movies of this year, the best horror movies.
I gotta see that. I gotta see that.
It had great
so
Rotten Tomatoes. So I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, I have Shudder. Yeah, I think I have like almost every freaking app. I think the Paramount Plus might have lapsed, but I think I just signed up for something else that said, hey, you get free Paramount Plus. So like, I don't know. It's crazy.
Between
like,
Jeff and I, we're the same way. We have like every streamer.
I just literally signed.
And I have still some DVDs too, Blu-rays.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah.
There's certain movies I'm like, my girlfriend makes fun of me. She's like, why do you have all these Blu-rays? I'm like, because sometimes I really want to watch a movie and I don't want to pay the whatever it is to buy it. I just want to. I don't know. It might not be on a streaming service. So yeah.
Well, and there also is I was just telling Jeff, I just popped in the original Death Wish. I got a restored Blu-ray and like it's gorgeous. I just put it on and it was so that's the thing too, is like, I mean,
these older films get
some older films that are shot well, like that one. I mean, it's just so beautiful on Blu-ray, and it's nice sometimes because sometimes when you see some of the older, they're so grainy. They kind of can look different depending on the streamer too.
Yeah, they can really improve on the picture a lot when you do those restorations. I know it's kind of interesting. William Friedkin, because a lot of film studios or people that own the rights to their movies, they'll lend out 35 millimeter prints of their films to be shown at like revival houses and stuff. And Friedkin won't let The Exorcist go out on 35 millimeter. He only lets the digital restored version of the film go out. So I mean,
that's such a great fucking movie, dude. It still freaks me out to this day.
Man. It's my favorite horror film. I mean, it really is.
It's like that and The Shining are two of the greatest of all time for sure.
Gosh, the atmosphere they create and that tension,
the anticipation.
And I feel like the 70s vibe makes it creepier. Like it doesn't make it campy. It makes it just something creepier about that era. It was kind of a dark time, it seems like. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think technology might have something to do with it too. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but it was way easier to just fall off the map and not have any contact with the outside world in an easy way too.
Well, and
it's like just landlines and I don't know.
Well, and obviously, and it's we weren't alive watching movies in the 70s and stuff, but just everything I've read and seen, it sounds like with post Vietnam, it's like post JFK assassination, post Vietnam, there was just a lot, post Watergate, all of that stuff. There just was a dark mood everywhere is what it sounds like. And when you look at film in the early 70s up to the mid 70s, I mean, it's brutal.
Yeah.
And
what's that one with Christopher Walken, The Deer Hunter? That's a dark fucking Apocalypse Now. A lot of those 70s
I love
movies.
Apocalypse Now.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
And then Tarantino, as he cites, it all really turns around with Rocky and with Star Wars, because those movies started kind of uplifting.
Well, you had that one uplifting film where that guy who came back from war, he was estranged from his family,
coming home,
but he reconnected with his family and ended up The Godfather. Remember that uplifting film? Sorry.
Oh God.
The horse's head in the bed.
I love The
Godfather.
Godfather.
Never could get into the Godfather movies.
Really?
I don't know what it is about them. I just feel maybe they're
you have to start with 3 and then work your way back.
I don't know if I've even seen 3. I've definitely seen 1 and 2.
You got to start with Andy Garcia.
Don't listen. You know what? You got to be in the right. You got to be in the right mood. You got to have the right time. And you just have to dive in, and then you get it's. But yeah, if you're,
am I crazy, or they're a little bit slow? Like I think
they're slow. They take their time.
They are slow.
They take their time.
More like Scorsese, like Goodfellas. Holy shit, that's a fucking. I love that movie.
Frenetic. It just keeps. Yeah. That opening, like first, I don't know, 30 minutes of Goodfellas. It's probably the greatest opening 30 minutes of any film.
The Godfather's slow, but it pays off.
Oh,
I mean,
so rich.
you gotta, you know what it is? I think it's that wedding. It's like when you start up with that, it's such a weird way to start a movie because you're really like Coppola's really kind of just setting a vibe and really making it feel like a family. And there's not a lot going on. You're watching a family dance and you're watching kids run around, and he's really letting the camera like sit on that stuff for a while, and
using that to immerse you into it.
And then it's an interest. But if you hang in, by the time the shit gets going, and by the time Pacino, starts going,
like,
dude,
like
by the
Scarface and the Scorsese, like Goodfellas and Departed, and what Tarantino did, I feel like those guys took that shit to the next level. Like, I think Coppola started that kind of gangster mafia film, but then like the other directors have like improved on it, I think.
I would, with a clear frame of mind, I would go in and try it, start it, and just go power through it. Get through that first like 15, 20 minutes, get into where it really starts cooking. Because when that's, I don't want to give away plot points if you don't remember them.
No, I remember it. I mean, it's there's definitely some scenes like the horse's head and shit where you're like, whoa, like but it's such that in between stuff. I think that's what they say about like Spielberg, about why, because people criticize Jurassic Park versus Jaws, and they said the difference was like a Jaws, when there wasn't the action and the shark and all the crazy shit, the off like action scenes, the drama was still really good. Like you were so interested in the characters, whereas Jurassic Park there wasn't. But I don't know. I personally, I like Jurassic Park and Jaws. I don't know that it made that big of a difference with those ones.
They're different They're different movies. I mean, certainly Jurassic Park, I mean, is a masterpiece on a lot of levels, but it's certainly a masterpiece of where the spectacle is a big part of it, and
a huge part of it,
and the way that it's written, and the way that they build anticipation there, and the way it all kind of connects. But yeah, the spectacle there is enormous, and especially for the time, but it still has impact. I mean, it still hits when you watch it. Jaws, I mean,
well, it had to figure out how to do it without the spectacle. The spectacle wasn't working. So they were forced.
The shark is not working. The shark is not
literally.
Well, and when you got, I mean, and it's no offense to the cast, but it's like when you got fucking Scheider.
Oh gosh,
and his you got Scheider and fucking that cast, and Dreyfuss and
Richard
Shaw.
Dreyfuss, he's great.
I mean, that cast is so like unbelievable, and it's just a different experience.
I love the acting in Jurassic Park.
It's good. It's just they're different. I can't. Different. I don't even put those two next to each other weirdly, even though it's both Spielberg and
I remember the reviews when Jurassic Park came out. They were kind of critical, and I was like, so I think I went into it with kind of low expectations. I was like, oh, like they're saying it's not that good. It's not as good. And then I was like, holy shit! I remember seeing that in '93 or whenever it came out. And my buddy at the John Dan's Theater in Bellevue, Washington, like, which is, I think it's a parking lot now, or something. I don't know what it is, but I remember just being with the IMAX, the big screen and the sound and all. It was fucking insane.
Yeah, that movie terrified me as a kid, way more than Jaws. I would have dinosaur nightmares. No, like legit, dinosaur recurring nightmares as a child.
No, but I remember I grew up on a lake, and I remember being in the lake and being scared a shark was going to get me. It's a freshwater lake.
Jaws fucked me up.
Sharks, but like he fucks with your head. Like, it's weird, like how movies do that to you.
Well, cool. Jeff and I talked about this before too. In Jaws, when you watch a little kid die, which they didn't fuck around in the 70s and 80s, they would kill kids, which they don't ever do.
They did that in Jaws.
Yeah. And
just don't kill an animal. I can't do that. I don't know what it is about. I can't see like an animal die. It's just something about that. Like,
don't watch Cannibal Holocaust, and then you'll be good.
I think I did see that. I feel like
did you?
Wait a minute. Did I see that? I feel like I tried to watch that. Is that available somewhere on streaming?
It's on Shudder.
on
I
Shudder?
I wimped
yeah.
out. I haven't gotten
remember.
past the
Jeff wimped out.
What's the one? Well, I think the reason
Green
I saw
Inferno?
that because I saw Green Inferno.
Yeah, Green. I've
And
seen Green
that was
Inferno.
fucking freaky.
Fucking
That's a
gnarly.
scary movie.
Yeah.
And then I think
hell
they referenced Cannibal Holocaust or something. So I think I went back. I thought I went back and
Basically a
watched.
remake. It's sort of a remake or an homage.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's not really a remake, but it's
Dude, Eli
an homage.
Roth. Holy shit. Talk about underrated.
Oh,
How is
bro.
that guy
We
not?
talk about it all the time. We talk
fucking
about it all
love
the time.
Eli
We're
Roth.
not worthy.
He's in that show, The Idol. I'm like, why is he acting in a stupid TV show? He needs to be making more horror movies.
Yeah, it's like make movies, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
Give us more. We want more.
What blows my mind is how Hostel isn't talked about in like
the top 10 of the last
greatest
20 years
horror
or whatever.
films. Yeah.
Seriously.
There you go.
There it is, right here. Yes.
There you go.
Woo. Yeah. I mean, that is
masterful.
That movie is
especially I went into it and I hadn't seen the trailer or anything. I didn't know what it was about. And it starts off and you're like, oh, this is like this is about a serial killer. And like I'm not giving anything away if you haven't seen it, but it totally flips that. Is it's like it takes you one direction, you think it's about a serial, you think it's about this, and then you're like, holy shit, like the revelation on that. It's similar, honestly, to the Retaliators in that way. Like you think it's about one thing and then it flips it into another. Very cool. I love when movies do that.
Thanks.
Yeah. We that was it really was an inspiration for us and an influence for us. We love Eli Roth. I think he's criminally underrated.
Yes.
Can't believe the critic ratings on because I went on Rotten Tomatoes and looked up his films and I was like, what?
Dude, even
how are not all of his films 90% and above?
Seriously, even the one with Keanu Reeves, what's
Love,
it called?
Knock Knock.
Which was an homage
that fucking freaked me out. I mean, it's
love
real
that
life
movie.
thing.
Love that movie.
And you talk about gratuitous nudity. I mean, the shower scene. There's a shower scene in there.
Yeah.
Look. I want to go on record. I don't like any nudity on film.
No, me either. Okay? I'm just saying for the people that do, for my listeners.
We got Father Jeff over here. Jeez Louise.
Father, happy Father's Day. That's coming up in a couple hours here.
Yeah, that's me. That's
my
me.
brother, yeah.
I have 4 kids. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, because you were saying earlier you're taking them to the concerts, you're being a good dad.
That's right.
Are you guys doing anything special for Father's Day?
We're it gets to be my day where I choose so we're probably going to do usually do like going to a record store, just chill,
nice.
Just spend time with the kids. It'll be fun.
That's funny. My girlfriend was like, she's like, oh, I'm going to hang out with my dad on Tuesday. So like we could do whatever we want on Sunday. Like, what should we do that would be like open on Sunday? And I'm like, nothing. Because dads like to do cool shit. So, like you can't go to a baseball game, maybe a dad. You go to a concert, like dads are going to do the cool shit. Like, if it's Mother's Day, you can go do guy shit. You go to baseball games and things like, and there'll probably be no moms there. They're all at brunch or whatever. But like, guys are going to do all the cool shit. So
yeah. So
well, this is a nice segue to talk about Robin Williams and Billy Crystal's Father's Day. I'm just kidding.
Oh boy.
No,
yeah.
I remember that movie. That was kind of like didn't live up to expectations. Two of the funniest people alive, and it just did. Well, it was okay.
Really work. Yeah.
You know, you talk about Paul McCartney. His song on that soundtrack was. I really love that song. It was that opened the film. Young Boy, I think it's called Young Boy. That's a fucking good song. I was listening. I remember listening to it. Like,
a little sus.
That was back, before you could Shazam stuff. But I think I looked at the credits and it was a good song. And I was like, oh, this is Paul McCartney. No wonder it's good.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, congratulations on the movie going to Amazon Prime. This was a lot of fun. It'll have to come back when this next project comes out. I guess you can't say anything about it. But what?
Yeah,
we can't wait. We can't wait, man.
Yeah, come back. We can do another. We can do a live stream. We could do another episode of the podcast. However, either way, I think it works both about the same. So people will hopefully check this on the replay if they missed the live stream, and it'll be there forever.
Love it.
Cool, man. Well, I'll let you guys get back to it. And I think I'm going to go watch something on Amazon. Maybe Retaliators again, or what were we talking about? That was the Dead Commando. God, I want to see that.
The Influencer. Oh, I want to check out The Influencer.
You gotta watch that.
What was the sorry, what was the one by Silence?
Dead Silence.
Dead Silence.
Silence.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Dead Silence.
Yeah.
But
That's
most
wonderful.
important is that everybody goes to Amazon Prime to watch The Retaliators first.
Retaliators, yeah. If you haven't seen that one, you got to see that, of course, at least once. But I was, maybe I'll watch that again because that's such a great one, and the soundtrack too is great. Obviously,
yeah.
so. Cool,
Thanks,
man.
Chuck.
Well, stay in touch, and yeah, let me know when the next thing comes out.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks,
You're
Chuck.
the
All
man.
right.
Really appreciate it.
All right, see you later.
Thanks.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye.
Sweet.
Cool. Oh, because he's still live, huh?